Hey, this is Bruce Boudreau, and you're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mack, and Harrison. But listen, what about something like, hey, listen, we're the Empty Betters, and you want to lose your money? You bet on us.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 138 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. What's going on, my friend?
Not a whole lot, my dude. Finally got some sunshine here in Maryland today. I was soaking that up for about 15 minutes, but like you, I have been busy as hell. It has been a crazy week for us getting ready for the season to start here, and it's the Metro episode. Buckle up.
There will
That's
be
all I have to say.
Absolutely zero controversy in any of our takes that are incoming for this episode. If you're from New York, you've been warned. I'll just say that. Viewer discretion advised. By the way, I must say, it's amazing what 2 days of sleep will do for your voice after a football game and getting hosed. Man, I feel so much better. And now I'm going to toss it across the screen to my other co-host up in Wisco, Mac Vogel. How we doing, buddy?
Doing good, living life as always. Very excited for this episode, as you say. A lot of controversy probably going to come up, and I'm excited for that. Love a good argument, especially when it's Caps versus Pens, because obviously I've got all the winning arguments for that. I mean, been having that argument for decades now. So
there is a solid bet between Mac and I that I would urge you to listen to at the end of the previews. So stick around. It's pretty entertaining, and I'm really hoping I end up not losing that one.
Very consequential bet. Extremely consequential.
I would say so. It's worse than losing money. I will say
it's
that.
Bad. Yeah.
I know I had given a viewer discretion advice for all New Yorkers who are about to listen to this episode. But speaking of New York, Aaron Judge just broke the home run record last night as we're listening to this. Figured I'd shout it out because New Yorkers are going to hate us for the rest of the episode. But Mac, speaking of New York, the Mets, the Yankees, baseball, the wild card coming right up here. I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about MLB playoffs.
Yeah, this episode's going to be dropping just before that all gets underway. Starts on Friday, so I'm super excited for that. But, if you're wondering which of my many favorite baseball teams I'm most fired up about right now, well, let's run through. We've got O's kind of fucking suck.
You better be watching on YouTube.
Brewers really, really, really fucking suck.
Breaking out the jersey toss.
At all. You know who doesn't fucking suck? The Mets, baby. Let's go.
He's putting on his Mets jersey as we speak.
So, go Mets, baby. Yankees can go fuck themselves. You heard it here first. Mets, Yankees, World Series, Mets in 7.
Ooh. Dude, I can't imagine what would happen to New York City. Like
it's gonna be nuts.
That's what happened the last time, right?
That would be insane. Well, because the Cubs and the White Sox are in opposite conferences too, right? Has that ever happened?
They do it on purpose. I believe so. I believe there's been a few Subway Series, definitely between the Mets and the Yankees.
Yes. It was late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Cubs and the Sox, maybe not, because the Cubs weren't in the World Series for so long, or no, it's just that they hadn't won it for so long. I don't know. I need to check my facts on that one, but Subway Series 2022.
So just off the top of your head, we've got, is it called the Wild Card Series? Is that what you would call it coming up?
I believe so, now that it's a best of 3.
Any betting tips? Have you looked at any odds? Do you know what's coming?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the odds, but I can tell you it's very helpful to go and fill out the MLB bracket. You can do that with the MLB Play app. They've got tons of fun games on that app that you can play all for free. And the bracket, you have a chance to win 100K. So if you just fill it out and you get it right, then you might win $100,000. What I will say, and it pains me to say this, I think the Blue Jays are going to beat the Mariners in the wild card, and I think they might be able to go on a deep run. I think they could beat the Astros. That team is hot as hell. I also think the worst team in this entire postseason is the Cleveland Guardians. Those guys fucking suck. They
Okay,
are
then.
a terrible baseball team that just won a terrible division, and the Tampa Bay Rays are about to walk all over them.
Terrible name too.
Yeah, they just suck.
They
They're
botched that one.
lame as fuck. Yeah,
Them and the Commanders both took like a name from like your create a team in like
literally
an early
Yep.
2000s video game kind of thing.
Yep.
Mac,
But,
I am just telling you this as a fan of your Twitter account and your writing. I would absolutely die for a series by series pick with the odds posted and like a 1-sentence analysis as to why.
Okay. Yeah, I could do that.
I would
have
love
fun
that.
doing that.
I think the Padres got the Mets. Is that confirmed?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
I would love like a
How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
You know what? I might like it more than having to wait for the Cardinals or the Phillies, like the Braves are doing, like the Mets would have been doing if they won the division. I don't know. The Phillies, I think, will lose to the Cardinals. The Cardinals kind of scare me though because of the whole like Pujols thing. They've got some really good pitchers. But no, I think the Mets Padres should be an interesting matchup for sure. I kind of think it'll go 3 games and the Mets will take care of business, but it's all in New York. It's all at Citi Field, all 3 games. So that makes me feel a little better. I think the Mets are I think them losing the division is putting a big chip on their shoulder because they just had a spectacular season and they're being forced to play a fucking wild card spot to like do something about it. And I think these guys are about to like no nonsense be like, this is fucked. We're about to show everybody we're like so much better than fucking wild card team.
Speaking of the Mets, one of the better 30 for 30s I've seen in a while is Once Upon a Time in Queens.
Miracle Mets, is that the
86 Mets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that technically is the Miracle Mets, but
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, and I will be following your Sharp Rank picks for that as well. I'm sure you're going to have some juicy ones. So that's fun. So who is your World Series pick again?
Mets.
Against the Yankees, right? Nick,
yes, sir.
I know that we don't follow as closely as Mac. Do you have any?
Said like a couple months ago, I thought the Braves could at least get back, and they're hot right now. I don't think they're going to get back. I'm going to have to dial in my baseball to watching the playoffs in the first round before I can even have a snowball's chance in hell of giving you anything accurate.
I'm rooting hard for the Padres and the Mets. Those are my 2 teams.
So whoever wins that series, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's Buck versus Manny. I love both of them. So obviously Trey Mancini going to the Astros. I just can't root for the fucking Astros, dude.
Yeah,
that's why I was so upset when he went there because I was like, it's been a pleasure. Unfortunately, I can no longer really be excited about you.
Anyone but the Blue Jays. That's my rule.
Anyone but the Yankees too.
Those 2, yeah. And
can't stand the Blue Jays.
I have bad news, fellas. Either of those teams could definitely win the World Series this year. They're both excellent.
Yeah. Also, like while we're talking baseball, you guys have seen Lord of the Rings, right?
I have not actually.
I've seen it a long time ago. But
okay. Does anyone else think that Aaron Boone kind of looks like Smeagol?
Which guy is Smeagol?
I don't know who Smeagol is, but the name kind of.
I'd have to send you a picture, but it's it's one of those ones where you're like, okay, now I can't unsee this.
That's fair. Yeah, we all have those.
I also want to give a shout out to the fan who quite literally fell over the outfield wall trying to catch Aaron Judge's ball. Did he actually catch it or did he miss it? I think he missed it.
It was like 4 people over from him.
Dude, that's dedication. I mean, you got to end up breaking something during that. So shout out to him. But anyways, that's enough baseball talk here. We're going to move on to the league news. Couple tidbits here real quick, and then we will get into the Metro preview. But before we give you the league news, I think Nick has a word from our sponsor, Brackish Life.
I do. That's right. Let's take a minute to talk about Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the water and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It's real Bay apparel made by real Bay people. Head to www.brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh. Brackish Life. Not too much to get to on the NHL news. Harry, I'll go ahead and throw it back over to you for that. Let's start with Matty B signing that big ticket in New York.
Yeah, easily the biggest news of the day, and this was not mentioned in our Metro preview because we recorded that last week, but Matt Borzell got absolutely paid an 8-year deal, I believe, coming in at just shy of 9.2 million. Can someone fact check me on that? But
9.15. Yeah, you nailed it.
9.15. So Matty B gets his payday. A little bit of skepticism from NHL media, Twitter. The guy, I don't think someone told me this. He's never gotten over like 64 points in a season. Now, granted, I think that 64 was in a lockout year or a bubble year, but he got a hefty payday. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he's not necessarily, I mean, from what we've seen so far, he's not going to be that guy that goes out there and gets you 90 points. Right? Did I nail that or what?
Yeah, yes,
confirmed. Smeagol
Yeah.
is Aaron Boone.
Yeah, I will give you that one.
Aaron Smeagol Boone.
So, like, the thing with Matt Borzell for me is like, I can't really explain it. When you do the eye test, he's incredible, right? He's fast. His skates arguably better than anybody else in the league besides maybe McDavid and McCarr. He's got hands. He makes plays. He doesn't really have a whole lot of talent around him.
He can get gritty if he needs to be.
Yeah, but when you look at like the stat sheets, like he's just never really had one of those huge years, right? I mean, I think he's worth it. And I was also telling a buddy this who was asking me about it. It's not really like they had a choice because he was
you have to pay him.
Someone would have thrown that money at him easily. It's like the Islanders couldn't get any free agents, so they got to keep what they got. I mean, he's their number one star. So, is it a little high? I'd say maybe a tiny bit, but
would he have like 80, 85, 90 points if he was playing in like Florida?
Yeah, that's an argument to be made. I mean, he's been playing with Trott's Islanders system for a while, so happy for Barzell. Probably one of the best looking guys in the league. Just throwing that out there. I was like, they showed him on like signing his contract. Yeah, I was like, he's a handsome man. There's no doubt about that. So, Islanders get their guy. He's staying in Long Island. The skepticism is over. And then Nick, what's the other tidbit? I don't have the.
Yeah, Ron Francis of the Seattle Kraken is expecting Shane Wright to play the entire year with the team. 4th overall pick this year. I mean, the whole big thing was he was passed over, not for, first, second, and third. What do you guys think about this? Do you think it's worth them to keep him up, or would you send him back to junior or something?
I love this move. I think he's going to be playing with an enormous chip on his shoulder. He's got his buddy Matty Beniers, who's probably going to be on his line. So this is going to be a fun team to watch. I don't know if I can slap the fun team label on them yet, but they do have a fun line. They have a fun line. Young guns.
I mean, from a fan standpoint, I'm excited that he will likely be up for the whole season because I would love to see him play some NHL hockey this year. But I don't think the Kraken are a fun team. TM,
I could see Wright, Beniers, and like Burakovsky just absolutely having a season, but the rest of the team does nothing.
Yeah. I mean, what do you have to lose?
No, you don't have anything to lose, especially as the Kraken. But
yeah, seriously.
That's really it. Since we did the Atlantic Division preview, only a couple days have passed. It feels like we're knocking out content every single day right now, which is kind of wild. But I think we are going to hop into the Metro preview right now.
Oh, Lordy.
All right, and now we were going to hop into our Metro Division preview. This one will not be controversial at all. We will all agree on everything that we say. Obviously, you can sense the sarcasm in my voice. And if you're from New York, I recommend that you put some type of like self-drive if you have a Tesla or some shit on, because you're going to want to crash your car after this, I have a feeling. So,
and you probably need help driving anyways.
L7 Ween.
just right into it, boys. Just right into it.
Yeah, that we really didn't waste any time there. Okay. Let's start with the odds to win the division. Number one, we have the bunch of jerks at plus 200.
Boo.
We have the I was gonna make a New York joke, but it lost me. The New York Rangers at plus 300.
Boo.
The Pittsburgh Penguins at plus 300.
Boo.
The New York Islanders at plus 700. The Washington Capitals at plus 900. Boo. The New Jersey Devils at plus 1,800. The Columbus Blue Jackets at plus 5,000.
Who cares?
And the AHL affiliate of the NHL, the Philadelphia Flyers at plus 5,000. So we've got yeah, right. We've got a lot to unpack here, folks. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I would sit back and relax for this one. Crack a cold one if you can. Let's get into it. So the Carolina Hurricanes, the bunch of jerks, as Don Cherry would say, plus 200. Last season, they lost in 7 games to the New York Rangers in the second round. They beat the Boston Bruins in round 1 and 7. I know that you guys don't like this team very much. I know that very strongly, actually. Before I ask you what you guys think about what they're going to do this year, I think it's worth noting the key subtractions. They lose Vinny Trocheck, Tony DeAngelo, Nino Niederreiter, Max Domi, and Ian Cole. In the key additions, they added Andre Kasha, Max Pacioretty, Brent Burns, Dylan Coggan, and Jake Gardner. Their biggest problem, they have like early 2010 cap syndrome. They can't get past the second round. So what do you guys think about this team this season?
On paper, they're definitely the best team in this division. I think you have to say, you pull up their daily face-off. It's all right there. I hate the fact that they got Pacioretty because I feel like it's going to click here. I feel like it didn't really click in Vegas, and like it clicked for a little bit in Montreal, and I just get the overwhelming, dreadful feeling that it's going to work out really, really well for them.
Yeah.
One of the most underrated snipers in the NHL.
Yes.
I think that, well, first of all, there's a lot up for debate with this team that we're definitely going to talk about this or that. One thing is for certain that this team is going to lose outdoors this year. They're going to lose an outdoor game this year, which is cool. But you know what else I actually really like that I feel like a lot of people have been saying like, that doesn't matter that much. Brent Burns, I love this signing. I'm jealous of this signing. I know he's a little bit of an old man now, but I think this is another like classic example of a big name that was kind of like on the downtrend with the team he played his whole career with. Besides, I think he was on the Wild very briefly at the beginning of his career, but we think of him as a San Jose Sharks guy. He was sort of on the downtrend. I think this is going to give him a brand new lease on life type of situation. I fully expect him to be a pain in the ass with Carolina. I think he's going to get big minutes. I think he's going to get power play time. I think he's going to score goals.
Great. People forget that Brent Burns played forward for the Minnesota Wild.
This is true. And I would agree with.
Wow, I forgot. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Bufflin situation when he was in Chicago. Mac, I agree with everything you just said. I think Brent Burns is going to have a decent year.
The losing outdoors part too. You agree?
Yeah, that
definitely.
One, sure. I'll go with that. I'm not a big Canes guy myself, so I'll add to the bias there.
Big Raising Canes guy, but
Raising Canes,
not Hurricanes guy.
True.
Raising Canes, big fan. So when I look at this team, I really like that addition of Paul Stastny. I think it makes that third line just that much better. And I mean, they have Seth Jarvis as the fourth line center, and he was arguably their best player at certain points last season. So I think that's kind of funny.
But they also have him on daily faceoff as the first line right wing.
Yeah, I guess they fucked that one up. I don't know why. Daily faceoff.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Unless we had some like mitosis thing where Seth Jarvis just divided into two smaller Seth Jarvises.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Big brain move there, Manila. Then ignore my comment. I don't know why Daily Faceoff has that. They're the best team in the division. Nick said that on paper, they should win the division. The only question that I would really have is, Freddie Anderson had a monster year last year. Is it a fluke? I don't think so. I think Freddie's always been a solid goalie. He just played in the worst market that any athlete could ever play in ever. So
I actually think he could have a really good year and even be up for Vezina.
I agree.
If he plays well enough. I think I like Ranta as their backup again too. That's a solid spot. I think the only question mark, honestly, is the D, and it's not really even a question mark. I mean, these guys should be totally fine, but I think it's probably the one area where they could struggle a bit.
Would you say it's more chemistry as opposed to a question mark? You're just waiting to see how they gel together, or
sort of, yeah. I mean, you look at each individual name, and it's mostly household names at this point. If you're a regular NHL fan, these are all guys that you should have heard of by now. But I do think there's a slight chance that maybe this D takes a little bit of time to kind of get off the ground, to mesh, to gel, like Nick was saying.
The Brent Burns part, yeah. I mean, Slavin, in my opinion, top 5, top 7 defenseman in the league somewhere there. He's a stud. Brady Shea, stud. Brett Pesce, I wouldn't maybe say stud, but very, very respectable.
Pain in the ass to play against, man.
Yeah.
I like the Coughlin
Mhm.
acquisition too. I think he'll be a nice back end, bottom pairing, but still, I think he'll eat a decent amount of minutes there for them.
Let's not forget Paul Stastny on the forwards too. It's just
Yeah.
experience, it's depth. That guy has been there. I mean, how many times?
Yeah, I mean Harry already said that, so maybe just I don't know, say
I
something
know.
else.
So I'll just go fuck myself.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, wait, didn't I say that? No,
Yeah.
you're good. How
ADD podcast.
Yes. How deep do you think these guys can go? I know last season they were my cup winner prediction before the season starts. I would imagine they're right up there again with the favorites. What do you guys think?
They're definitely going to be one of those teams that like everyone is like, load up your money on, put it on Carolina early to win the cup. And I'm always hesitant to do that. I think this team probably makes it to the third round.
Unless here's another situation I could see them falling into. I could see this team winning the President's Trophy, in which
Mm,
case they might have one more cursed year. Like this might be that 2017 Capitals situation where they're like so freaking good that everyone's like, oh,
2010 Capitals.
they gotta break through now. And it's like, nope. Instead, they're gonna like ultra implode. And then they'll make like one or two more tweaks, and then next year maybe be with it. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but I think it's possible. I also think the only other area that kind of worries me a little bit for the Canes is Brindamore, great coach. However, I feel like he's the type of coach that kind of wants this team to sit back a little more, like when they get a lead and play more conservative. And I feel like too many times last year they had like a 1 goal lead. And if they had just been a little more aggressive and tried to get like an insurance marker, they could have found themselves in the win column a little more often, instead of kind of sitting back and then giving up a goal. Game's tied, they lose in overtime, something like that.
feel like we saw that in the Boston series too. I mean, granted, they had their third string goaltender in at one
Yeah,
point, but
True.
they did blow a couple leads to the Bruins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not giving a cup pick yet on the pod. We'll be dishing that out on social media. I need to let it marinate, but these guys are definitely going to be in the conversation for me. I love the way this team is built, to be honest with you. Unfortunately,
When you run the numbers in your head, it's impossible to not factor them in there. I mean, just based on what you're looking at on paper,
they're top five favorite, I would say.
Easily.
Yeah.
Now, if they could just do something about those freaking jerseys, like they
just go back to the like ones you had.
To me, they've never had a great jersey. I think their best jersey is
the
mid.
black alternate one from like way back when, like the original black alternate, not the stupid one that had the gray on the shoulder, like their
flag or whatever.
That's their main one this season. I think they announced
and I
it.
don't like it. The gray and the black. The logo's dumb too. The flag. That's like, what is that even? Where? Like, what is that?
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of like. I mean, the flag. I get it's a hurricane warning flag, but like.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Like.
Didn't know that one.
But like, why are you afraid of your own mascot?
Right. It's like.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we got the New York Rangers. Last season, they were in the conference finals, and they were at one point beating the Tampa Bay Lightning 2-0 in the series, and then they blew it. They lost this offseason. Ryan Strom, Andrew Kopp, Frank Vetrano, and Alex Georgiev. They added Vinny Trocheck, Ryan Carpenter, and Yaroslav Halak. Their biggest problem, it'd be tough to find a problem here, to be honest. They are pretty loaded, I would say. And if anything, I think that their second line, now that they have Trocheck, is probably an upgrade from last season. They are also arguably top 5 Stanley Cup favorite right there with Carolina. I'd say those two teams are neck and neck in terms of firepower. It pains me to say this. They're a very, very good hockey team, and they will be a very, very good hockey team for a long time.
If the New York Rangers win the Stanley Cup, I really hope some of the listeners try and like find what happens to us, because we might all be dead.
Yeah, you might never hear from any of us again.
Yeah.
I hate the New York Rangers.
Same.
I hate them. And
I used to think like the Philadelphia Eagles had the worst fans in sports, and it's not even close anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the daily face-off, what are the first things that pop out at you guys?
The D is really good.
The damn second line is really good. I hate the fact that they got Vincent Trocheck.
I hate that so much. I thought there was no way that he could like piss me off more than being on the Hurricanes. And they were like, oh, we'll just put him on the Rangers. And I was like, no. That's even worse.
Also, like Halak is just going to thrive there. And
I was going to say, I can't believe he's like still playing hockey at this point, but like how much you want to bet he has like 6 shutouts this year. And like,
yeah, like if Igor gets hurt at all, like if that happens, please let that happen. Like Halak is going to come in and just absolutely run the show. I mean, the dude's a cap killer anyway, so.
Yeah.
I would say that short of the Colorado Avalanche, trying to think of another team, maybe the Nashville Predators, this team probably has the best defense in the league. They're loaded. Adam Fox, you don't need to say much more. And Ryan Lindgren last playoff run really showed
he was really impressive.
That dude could fucking play.
By the way, is he related to Charlie Lindgren at all? Does anyone know? The backup for the Caps?
No idea.
No clue. Keandre Miller, he might end up being a top 10 defenseman along with Adam Fox after the season's over. This kid is legit. Newly announced captain and headhunter, Jacob Trouba. We all know what he can do, injure your best player. And then our good friend of the program who we've had
upset.
Yes. Our good friend of the program who we had on last season or 2 seasons ago, Zach Jones. He's projected to make the team this year, and I think he will. And then Braden Schneider, every fucking Rangers fan talks this kid up like he's going to be the next Keandre Miller. So, you know, they're really good. They're going to not let anyone score. I mean, they have the puck the whole game. Igor's Igor. They have a top 3 defense, in my opinion. This team is loaded, and I think that you would be pretty smart, in all seriousness, to lay a future for them to win the cup.
Probably just don't dress 75 in the playoffs and they'll be fine. I also like with Kravtsov, I'm interested to see how he gels into the system, what they get out of him, what his role is going to be.
By the way, Charlie Lindgren and Ryan Lindgren are brothers, and there is another brother too, Andrew.
Very cool.
Mac, what do you think of the Rangers?
I think they're going to win the division unless the Canes do. It'll probably be one of those two. They're damn good, unfortunately. The Rangers are very good. I think they'll be just like last year. Like they'll get to the 3rd round and maybe punch their ticket, maybe not.
Are they going to win the cup? There's so much silence that like all of us have that fear.
I can't say it. I can't say it.
Yeah, Sam. I can't say yes. I really want to say no, but I also can't say no.
You know, what's the question mark? I mean, seriously, I look at this lineup. I'm like, yeah, they're fucking stacked. Like,
so when I was setting up the notes for this episode, you know, the way we've been structuring this, if you listen to the last couple previews for the other division, one of the things we talk about with each team is like the biggest problem. This was the hardest one. I had a really hard time coming up with the biggest problem for this team. And the only 2 things I could sort of point to, one, I think they could stand to improve a little bit in the goal scoring department. Last year, they finished 16th in goals for, which is good. I mean, it's right around average, but they definitely could improve a bit from there. The only other thing is like, I feel like they've got a couple of players that they really need to like make a decision on. Like number 1 being Capo Caco. Like, this is his year to like either be a part of this team and like really contribute to it, or else they should probably like move him like halfway through the season or something like that, in my opinion.
And it's not going to look like this in 2 years. Like they've got decisions to make and they're coming soon. I think,
but again, like that's not even really a problem. It's just like,
yes, it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that if you're a Caps fan, a Penguins fan, anyone else in the Metro, what you need to hope for right now is trouble in paradise.
Injuries. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, that too. I mean, not that we ever want anyone to get hurt, but like,
Jesus. What says the guy who was just bitching about headhunting? Freaking Trouba's headhunting.
Eye for an eye. And no, unrelated. I think they were saying that Tua got hurt over the weekend, and Josh Allen. They play the Ravens this coming week.
That
got injured.
Bad,
and
that was really bad.
Allen was a little dinged up, and I had a group chat that was like, not rooting for injuries, but Josh Allen.
But
So that's where I'm going to go with this.
It was convenient. Let's put it that way.
Yes, exactly. The Rangers are the best value for you to bet right now before the season starts to win the Stanley Cup, in my opinion. I really, they're really good.
Do you know what the odds are for that?
I do not have them in front of me at the moment.
Take it, odds maker Harry. Take a guess. I'm pulling it up right now.
I will say plus 550
to win the whole thing, to win the cup.
Yeah,
I'm going to give them plus 425 because the book is going to love the fact that they're from New York.
Yo.
What?
Wait a minute. Did I click the right thing?
Did you click cup or division?
Yeah, no. Stanley Cup odds to win. You guys.
What?
They're plus 1,800.
That's wild. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Who's the favorite? What? Colorado's the favorite. What are they at?
Hold on. Let's see.
That's crazy.
That has to just be because they're in the Metro.
To put it in perspective, I think this is just because if you bet someone to win the Stanley Cup before the season even starts, it's gonna all be pretty decent chunk of change. So even the Avs are plus 400.
Okay. But still, I thought the Rangers would be way up there.
They have the Panthers at plus 900. That team is so ass cheeks.
So this confirms my belief that yes, at plus 1,800, the Rangers are 100% the best bang for your buck.
Unless you're a huge Penguins fan, because they're plus 2,000.
I am a huge proponent of hedging your happiness. I stand by it.
You are a big hedge guy.
If you're gonna be sad, you might as well make a nice payday while you do it. True. So that's how I look at things. I might be a psychopath.
That's what they call Monday through Friday.
Yeah, I might bet the Bills this weekend, honestly, just to
oh my god,
cure my anxiety. I don't know. It's like paying for a ticket to the game. That's how I look at it. Okay,
there you go.
I think we've covered the New York Rangers enough. I'm sure the New Yorkers have been stroking themselves as we talk about it, so that's great. All right, we're moving on to probably, I would say, the worst team in the NHL. The Philadelphia Flyers. They are horrible. They are so bad. They need to recover from last season, and I don't think they're going to be able to find a way how unless Matt or Nick can educate them.
Well, there's really only one thing that can help this team recover now. You could give them an adrenaline shot. That probably wouldn't do it. You could give them about 18 pounds of blow and amphetamines. That still wouldn't even make a dent. What they need is something that's really going to help their back, their knees, and just their overall workout routine. And that's going to be Kane footwear, because they're changing the game by providing a unique shoe focused on recovery while being made from sustainable materials. Don't wait. Head to our link in our bio today to grab a pair of the most comfortable and coolest shoes you will ever own.
That was beautiful.
That was actually a phenomenal ad read.
Thank you.
I think we should get paid from Cade just for that.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into the Philadelphia Flyers. I really don't want to spend too much time on this, but Oscar Lindblom gone, Keith Yandel gone, Martin Beachball, Cold Dog Shit Jones gone. Key additions: Nick Delorier, Tony DeAngelo, and John Tortorella. The biggest
problem.
What
could go wrong?
What could go wrong? The biggest problem: everything. I mean, literally everything. Management, players. I can't say coach because he's brand new, but that'll probably become a problem. This is a train wreck waiting to happen.
The goaltending is like, really, we're doing this again. Like, we're really just going to be like, yeah, Carter Hardy's the future. What are you talking about? Like, they're just leaning into that one again. Like, okay, and what if that doesn't work out? Then you've got freaking Sandstorm. Like, freaking like EDM Felix Sandstorm. Okay. No, literally, just I can see it right now. Like Carter Hart, he's like agonizing in pain from like an unavoidable injury halfway through the season. They pan to the bench, just
oh my god. This looks like, you know how we said like I think it was the Central episode, how like you look at like the Coyotes roster or the Pacific, and it's like what your AHL team looks like after like 10 years in like NHL franchise mode.
Right.
Yep. That's this.
Well, okay, here's what the most concerning part of this is to me. The management seems to think that this team is like pretty close or something. It's either that or they just don't give a fuck at all, because they didn't really do much of anything in the offseason.
They did literally nothing. They paid Rasmus Ristolainen, and then they couldn't afford Johnny Gaudreau. And he literally said it on Chicklets. He's like, I wanted to go to Philly. Yeah. And they couldn't.
They fucked it up. Like, it's almost like there's something going on where they're having trouble processing their thoughts and making decisions.
So like confused.
Like they're confused. Stop me if you've heard this one before.
But here's what's going to be super interesting. This is going to be can't miss hockey because John Tortorella is going to get so mad at this team. Like he's going to take the orb of confusion and just shatter it.
And just smash it.
Yeah. He's just going to smash it into a million pieces.
All the money they were going to give Johnny Hockey is going to be on replacement orbs. Like,
yes, literally they're going to be like, they're going to bring it in. What's the SpongeBob thing where he has like a whole closet full of
when Squidward has like all the alarm clocks and stuff. Oh my God.
We gotta like make a meme where they open that closet and it's just all the orbs and it's just smashing them over and over again.
I think a very big note here, 2 huge losses for this team. Ryan Ellis might never play hockey again, is
that
what
sucks.
I'm hearing.
I have been a fan of his since he was in Windsor. I mean, that dude is one of the most talented offensive defensemen and does not get enough credit for it.
Yep.
And Sean Couturier, don't know yet. Sounds like there's a back problem there. It could be 6 to 8 weeks.
That's not good.
Could be 6 to 8 months. He hasn't played hockey in like a year. They've got
68 months?
6 to 8 months. There you go. 68. Well, actually, if you follow Evil Gritty, 68 months might actually be the projected.
Am I correct that Lindblom went elsewhere? He went to like San Jose or something like that, right?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
I know he's gone, but I just couldn't remember like what his status was.
I think it's San Jose, but all in all, I mean, this team blows like really bad, and there's no chance they make the playoffs. It's guaranteed they finish last in this division. I don't really think there's much more to say.
How does the whole John Tortorella and then the Tony D thing go?
Is
this going to be like they're best friends, or is it going to be like kerosene, C4, and a detonator?
I think they could be like really good friends or something. Yeah,
Torts,
I think they could vibe well.
Torts loves that edge. He manages edge well. He likes edgy players because he's an edgy guy.
Asshole mentality.
Yeah, he really thrives on that. I will say his press conferences after the game are going to be can't miss television.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun.
No, that's what I was saying. He like the press conferences are going to be amazing. He's going to be screaming. He's either going to be screaming or he's going to just be like,
I just want him to like walk into
answer a single question. Like,
I just want him to walk in with like the greasiest like meatball parm hero like after the game and just slam it down on the table before his press conference.
I love when he gets salty. I love when he's just sitting there, just arms crossed, just who's next? Next question. That's a dumb question too. I'm not answering it.
Yeah, that with the Philly media, I can't see anything that goes wrong. All right, moving on to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Last season, could not get above a 500 win percentage, finished just below it. Not a terrible season, but they weren't really ever in playoff contention for real. Key subtractions, Oliver Bjorkstrand. Don't underestimate the weight of that loss. He led the team in goals last season with 28, so that's a big loss. Key additions, somehow, some way, they landed the biggest free agent in Johnny Gaudreau, Eric Gudbranson, Nick Cousins, Mark Stahl, Eric. Are we doing that right? Wasn't that Florida?
Yep.
Whoops.
Might be might be a little typo there. Sorry.
No, you're good. They got Johnny Hockey and Eric Gudbranson, so we'll go with those two. Anything else probably doesn't matter, for being honest. The biggest problem is going to be keeping the puck out of their net. Elvis needs to return to form, and the defense needs to step up. This is a very hard team to read.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's a complete like coin toss. I don't know what to think of this team. So I'm going to ask you guys, by looking at their projected lineup, what do you think about the Columbus Blue Jackets for the season?
First and foremost, learning some new names, because I've not seen some of these before. I mean, that top line looks impressive. You've got Ham and Cheese on the left, Boone Jenner in the middle, and then Patty Laine on the right. I mean, that could seriously do some damage. I don't hate the second line, but to me, that's more of a third line, if that makes sense.
I The weird thing, the like most confusing thing, and there, believe me, there's a lot of confusing things about Columbus. First of all, what's weird, we're talking about confusion. We talked about the Philadelphia Flyers, talking about confusion, talking about CBJ. This team to me is a lot like the Flyers. Like they sort of blend together because they both had freaking Torts as a coach. They both like been really good and made the playoffs semi recently. They're both doing some soul searching right now. But what's most confusing to me right now about CBJ is that they took a huge step to improve their forward core in adding Johnny Hockey. And I don't think their forward core was really the issue, like at all. Like I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they were fine in terms of goals for. Goals against has been their problem the last several years in a row. Elvis had like one really good year where he was like the guy. And then since then, he just hasn't quite found consistency. So that's what I'm looking for with this team this year. I think
Specifically goals 5-on-5 too.
yeah, Elvis is going to need to step up. I mean, they've got Corpusalo, who also like could. I think there's a world where maybe he has like a really good year and establishes himself as a starter. However, I am an Elvis guy. I think Elvis is probably the guy, and I would like to see him kind of find his game this year. But yeah, the defense is also like a little questionable. I don't know. I think they should have put more time and energy and money into their D this offseason than their offense.
I'm a big Elvis guy too. I mean, Burning Love is one of my favorite songs of all time, but I also think that these guys do have one of the better goalie tandems in the NHL. I think when Korpisalo's on his game, I mean, he was one of the most sought after guys that, for trade prospects over the last 2 years.
If you're talking about ceiling, then yes. Like
Yeah.
both of these guys have showed that they can be up there with like some of the top goaltenders in in the league when they're on their game. But yeah, it's just a matter of like which Elvis and which Jonas are we gonna get?
Definitely. I mean, based off last year, they need big time responses to how it ended up.
I'll be honest, and I maybe shouldn't be admitting this as a hockey podcaster, but I don't know one person on their fourth line. Never heard of any of them.
Sean Corrali?
Eric Robinson, Sean Corrali, and Matthew Oliver. Not
Olivier.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sean Corrali was on the Flyers.
Yeah, he was on the Bruins.
Oh, my bad.
Wait, was he on the Flyers?
Or I think he was on the Bruins. Yeah.
No, he was on the Bruins. Well, there you go. I don't even barely know him, apparently.
My two question marks, the two teenagers in the lineup, Kent Johnson and Cole Sillinger, they both have a lot of potential. We know what Kent Johnson can do. We watched the World Juniors. If he can even, show.
I think he'll make the team.
I think he has to make the team. Yeah. I think they can't do anything else. Like he's already.
Apparently, this dude Kirill Marchenko is supposed to be pretty dang good too.
Yeah, and Cole Sillinger, I mean, he was the youngest player in the league last season. He looked really good at times. So if those two kids can step up and play to what they're capable of doing, I think that they could be a frisky team.
Who's the coach of this team right
now? Hang on. It's escaping me. Let me fact check this before we go.
While he's looking, I do love that they got Adam Boquist. I don't know why. I just always thought this guy was solid. Yeah. Great puck moving defenseman. I think he's got great awareness. I think he was just in a really, really shitty situation in Chicago.
Huge Quist team.
Yes. Big time Quist team.
Brad Larson.
Boquist.
Brad Larson. Okay.
They love Quists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brad Larson's the coach.
Brad Lars Quist.
You have to have Quist to make the team. This team's gonna be annoying. That's the best way to put it. They can easily play spoiler for people. They might even make the playoffs for all I know.
No, not out of the Metro.
Think?
I don't think so.
Not without Torts and not out of the Metro.
Too hard.
Too many Quists.
I don't think they will, but I think that they'll be really close to the wild card, like 6 points, 4 points, something around that. I mean, that they're going to score a lot of goals. There's Johnny Hockey had 100 points last season. I think he had like 70-something assists. He's going to put that with Line and Boone Jenner or Roslovic. That's a good first line.
If they click, like if this team buys in and clicks to whatever Larson is throwing out there, I think that they could put some wins together. I definitely don't think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll probably be like 10 points out when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I would expect something similar.
I hope you're right.
They will be better than the Devil. They'll be better than the Flyers for sure.
Absolutely.
They'll be better than the Devils, I would
Maybe.
say. Although they've got
I have some hot takes when it comes to NJD. We'll get there in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to the next team. We got the New York Islanders. Last season, I think we all said it last episode, but that kind of seemed like a fluke to us. They started the season with 16 road games in a row or something crazy because their new arena was still being built.
20 even. It was so insane.
So they kind of got screwed from the start. Now they've got the new beautiful arena up, and they're ready to go. They lost Big Z in the offseason along with Andy Green, so 2 old farts on the blue line. And then they added Alex Romanoff in the offseason. Their biggest problem, they've got to start scoring goals. Last season, they were 24th in goals for, they finished last season 20th worst in goals for the last 4 seasons. And last season, they finished 24th. So they got to be able to put the puck in the back of the net. And they haven't seemed to be able to do that recently.
Yeah, basically last 4 seasons, scoring goals have been a big problem for them. That's their main thing, right? They have, in my opinion, one of the highest potential goalie tandems in the league, Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov. I mean, there's nothing that should be problematic about that, except maybe you worry about Varley getting injured or something like that.
Right.
A little bit older, but I fully think that Sorokin could make a case for Vezina if he has a good year this year. The goal scoring is the problem. That's going to be the issue for them. That's what they need to address. However, I will say the D, they've been good at keeping the puck out of their net in the last couple seasons. They still got Pelican Pulak. Noah Dobson needs to have a good year. I like the Romanov signing. I think he'll fit in well in this D-core for Barry Trotz. Third pairing, a little bit suspect. What do you guys think?
I totally agree. I think the Romanov signing is great for them. I look at this forward core, and I think kind of with the exception of Borzell, I see just third lines down the board.
Yeah, but that's always kind of been their thing.
And that's totally been their MO, and that's fine. But, I mean, like you said, goal scoring is clearly a problem.
We also need to see Oliver Wahlstrom, step up in a big way.
This is the year. It's got to be make or break this year.
Worth noting that Barry Trotz is no longer at the helm. They now have new head coach Lane Lambert, so maybe the system changes a little bit. I don't know what to think of this team. I still think they're good, but when you think about 2 years ago when they made the 3rd round and they took Tampa deep, it was that defense that really carried them, that structure that Trotz brought. Now we got Lane Lambert coming in. I don't really know what to expect.
I would expect more of the same because he's been with Trotz since forever.
I guess. Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm also correct that Anders Lee was out for almost the whole year last year, right?
They lost. Yeah. They had the most games lost to injuries, I think, last year by far.
I'm scared of the Islanders. I'll put it out there. I think that they can very easily be a playoff team. They probably have the best 4th line in hockey. We've said that for 3 seasons now?
Yeah.
They're tough. And Anthony Beauvillier, I've talked about this guy multiple times on the podcast, extremely slept on, very talented and very clutch, always scores big goals. I got a bad feeling, maybe for you guys, that the Islanders are what might keep the Capitals out of the playoffs.
Wow. I don't disagree with that at all. I could definitely see it. But for me, this Islanders team is just a big wait and see kind of science experiment. I mean, last year, yes, it was a fluke. Yes, we saw this team sort of rise to the top the last 2 seasons before the fluky season last year. But yeah, I just have no idea which way this is going to go. I mean, this could absolutely go great, or it could just implode.
Well, here's the thing. Even with the extremely catastrophic start to last season and basically being out of it very early on, They made it interesting with like a month left in the season. I remember people being like, holy shit, Caps are playing bad. Islanders are hot. They're only like 10 points behind them. There was a lot of people talking about it. And it, it ended up Caps made the playoffs, I think more than 10 points above them, but they made it interesting the last couple of weeks of the season, even with that adversity early on in the season. And I think that speaks to the type of team that this is. Of course, that was Barry Trotz's whole thing, right? Like no quit, super like, you're not going to feel bad for yourself type of hockey coach right there. So it'll be interesting to see if they still have that chip on their shoulder with Lane Lambert.
Hot seat, playoff team, yes or no? It's coin flip on the books.
This is such a hard one.
This is so tough.
I am going to say that the New York Islanders will make the playoffs this season.
I think they will. I think Ilya Sorokin is about to have like an incredible year. I said legit. It when we first started talking about him. I really think there's a chance that guy could like shock everyone and win the Vezina this year. And so I'm going to go off that and say they make the playoffs.
Little Nabokov. Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think they get in. I think it's definitely a wild card spot though.
I would agree. All right, moving on. We got the New Jersey Devils. Last season, they lost 55 games. Not great. The key subtractions, they lose PK Subban, Pavel Zacha, and Ty Smith. Key additions, they had Eric Howla, Andre Palat, John Marino, Vitek Vanacek, and Brendan Smith. They give up a shit ton of goals. That's always been their biggest problem, and it might continue to be their biggest problem depending how the goaltending situation shapes up. I know you guys probably have some comments on that. What do you expect from the Devils? I think everyone's kind of like thinking, okay, Jack Hughes is going to have a monster season. Maybe the Devils can make some noise. What do you guys think?
I kind of don't expect Jack Hughes to have a monster season. I don't know why. I just kind of get that vibe. I look at this team and I see a lot of talented, players that are sort of up and coming or guys that have moved around a bit. Obviously, the big question here is goaltending. Vanacek or Blackwood. You're going 1A, 1B kind of here for the whole season. Are you going to do a 50-50 split, or is one going to rise to the top? I have no idea. The Palat signing is so big for this team. I mean, this is exactly the kind of player that is going to thrive in this market.
Yeah, he basically is like plugging your hockey team into like a giant like electric battery. Like this guy is just going to send a charge throughout the lineup. Just in the locker room, having this guy on the team is going to be huge. I thought the same thing when I was kind of dissecting this team earlier. Igor Sharangovich, also another great fantasy sleeper pick. I do kind of agree with Nick. I think like the chemistry is going to be maybe a little off for this team, especially early on. The defense is the weakest part for me. I don't think that they did enough. I think the John Marino thing is good. Harry, you could probably speak a little more to that, but I like that pickup for them.
I like the Graves one too.
Yeah, Brendan Smith also is a guy that apparently can play forward and D, which I didn't know that, but that's what I was reading earlier. Here's the thing about Vitek Vanacek. I actually really think he could shine for the Devils, but it worries me with that specific D core in front of him. I'm not sure they're going to be able to help him out enough. I'm rooting for the guy a little bit. I mean, he's in my division, so I can't root for him too much, but I do think there's a world where like VV is the like clear cut starter for this team, especially because I don't know what Mac Blackwood's injury status is. I know he missed a lot of time last year, and I'm not sure if that's going to be like a nagging thing for him or not. But yeah, they've kind of got a lot of individual guys that are all like pretty good at hockey. It's just going to come down to, can they find the chemistry? Can they find the consistency? And most of all, can they compete in a very tough Metropolitan division?
So when I look at this team, I don't think that they're a playoff team given the status of the Metro. I don't think that the Caps and the Penguins are dead just yet. I think if they were and they were over the bend already, then maybe this team would have a chance. But when I do look at this lineup, I have two thoughts. One, I do love the Palat signing. a better version of what the Red Wings did with David Perron, in my opinion. They bring in that veteran second line guy, playoff experience, big goals, like kind of reminds me of that type of player. Obviously, a little bit better coming off back-to-back Stanley Cups. And a fantasy sleeper, you mentioned Yegor Sharangovich. I will put Dawson Mercer in there. That kid is very talented. We have seen some really good glimpses of him offensively, showing what he can do. It would not surprise me at all if maybe he takes over Jesper Bratt's spot on that top line. I think Mercer's got some real game. I don't like the defense that much. I think Marino is a coin flip. I mean, it's hard to tell. There were times when he was a rookie where he was so good offensively, and then towards his later stint in Pittsburgh, people would pull out all these advanced analytics about his defense. I'm like, well, what do you got to pick what you are. Like, you can't just kind of throw it all over the place. So I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't know about the whole Jack Hughes monster year. He's got to stay healthy. That's the most important thing. And nobody talks about Nico Hischier, and I'm almost going to say it's like kind of justified. I haven't really seen too much from this guy.
Oh, I completely disagree. I've seen him play
Really?
live, and he is absolutely incredible. Just one of the best two-way centers I've seen in the last 10 years.
I think he's going to have a better year than Jack Hughes.
Harry, I was thinking the same exact thing until I saw him play live.
He's definitely skilled. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him, but what was he? He was drafted. He was the first overall pick in 2017. I can't even believe that. Like, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
He had 52 points his rookie year. He had 60 last year. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. I thought he had like 50 for some reason, but maybe he will have a big year. I don't know. Maybe I sound like an idiot, but
I love the second line. I mean, Palat on the left, Hughes in the middle, Sharangovich on the right. That just spells problems.
That should be a really good line. It should be.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I probably will eat my words on the Hischier thing, but I don't know. I haven't really seen it offensively just yet.
What's the consensus here? Not making the playoffs?
Not making the playoffs. I think they could be better than Columbus, though, potentially.
Definitely.
Like, I actually think they have a chance to be not the second worst team in the Metro.
So 2 polls I would like to run with our fan base, and I'll put this on our social. Who will get more points, the Devils or the Blue Jackets? And then in the Atlantic Division, the Senators or the Red Wings? I would love to see the fan results from that.
Me too.
That's a good one.
All right, moving on. The Pittsburgh Penguins last season, wow, ruined my Outer Banks vacation. That's kind of the way that went. Lost to the Rangers in 7 games, blew a 3-1 lead, so that's always fun. Key subtractions: Evan Rodriguez, Mike Matheson, John Marino, and Brian Boyle. Key additions: Ty Smith, Josh Archibald, Ryan Poling, Jeff Petrie, and Jan Ruda. The biggest problem, they're old. Like, is that going to hold up? Obviously, Jari gets hurt last year, and then DeSmith gets hurt last year, and then we've got a guy who's eating spicy pork playing in net, and that just was the recipe for disaster. So I want you guys to tell me your thoughts on the Penguins before I go here.
For sure. And just to be clear, this is the same team that lost in overtime, right? I didn't hear that part get mentioned. Lost in overtime in Game 7.
I'm immune to it. Yes, it happened.
Yeah, ruined Harry's Outer Banks vacation.
I don't want to hear anyone complaining about 3-1 losses. I'm sorry, but like, until you've been through it 10 times in your lifetime, it doesn't count.
Yeah, and like the other thing, I feel like we didn't really focus enough on like their biggest problem and how old they are, and just like, their centers going right down the middle. You got Crosby, 35 years old, Malkin, 36 years old, Jeff Carter, 37 years old, and then on the back end, of course, you got Doomland, 30, Letang, 35 years old, Jan Ruda, 32, and they added Jeff Petrie, who's 34 years old, so they got that going there for him.
We're the oldest team in the league. That's actually confirmed. We have the average oldest team in the NHL.
Jeff Petrie went to Michigan State, and that's all the nice things I have to say about the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Harry, do you know offhand how many of the guys on the team have grandkids yet? Or
Shut the fuck up.
So here's my question to you, Harry.
Yeah, shoot.
How are you guys going to intentionally lose for a third time to try and get Connor Bedard?
Yeah.
Because you did it with, you got caught doing it with Lemieux. You got caught doing it with Sid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be mad. I honestly wouldn't even be that mad.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't even be that mad.
Real talk. That first line just fucking terrifies me. The second line I can live with. The third line's a pain in the ass, but it all comes down to who's on that right side and Kapanen.
Am I stupid, or who is Drew O'Connor?
He's like a guy who gets up and down the lineup. I'm trying to think of who I would compare him to in the Caps, but nothing's really coming to mind.
And I'm going to say something nice about the Pittsburgh Penguins here. I think the Jan Ruda signing was fantastic.
Yep.
That's a home run deal. Third D pairing, right side, shut down. I am not looking forward to that one bit.
So here's my biggest worry. I'm really, and this is hard for me, but I'm really trying to put myself in the perspective of a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. And if I were to do that, what would I be most pissed off and most worried about? And my answer is that this, to me, feels like how I felt as a Caps fan at the start of last year in terms of goaltending. Like,
yeah,
I watched Vitek Vanacek and Ilya Samsonov be very underwhelming and wanted that to be different. And then the Caps were like,
run it back.
Let's try it again. And like, I think that's what's happening here. Granted, I will give you all credit. Jari and DeSmith were a better tandem than Vanacek and Samsonov in their first year and their second year as well. But I don't know. That would be what I'd be most worried about. More so with the Smith, I guess. Like, I think Jari has proved that he should be all right. Playoffs are, he had the bad year and then he got injured last year, so we don't really know. But like, he had a very good regular season last year. There's no denying that. And there were streaks too where he looked like very good last year too.
All-star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but for whatever that's worth.
I don't know. It's interesting to me that they were just like, okay, DeSmith can come back. Like, I don't know if I would have been as content with that as they were. Also, I read a lot of things that said that Ty Smith may not even be, like, he might be more of like a 7th D for y'all. Do you know who would be the 6th in place of him?
I mean, there's some talk that, Chad Ruhwedel's a guy that's not in this lineup on Daily Faceoff that they said could probably be in there. Mark Friedman's another guy that they said could probably be in there.
I'm guessing you would probably rather see Smith in there, right?
I'm more of a Ty Smith guy. I saw what he did in Jersey when he had his good year. He can skate really well, which I think is something that we lack. Nick, I love what you said about the Ruda deal. We needed to get bigger and tougher on the back end, and I like that Hextall did that. A lot of people were not happy with Matheson getting traded. I know that Petrie's older, more expensive, and didn't have as good of a year last year, but I don't hate it. And maybe I'm in the minority on that.
I think that's an upgrade.
Matheson had a really good year, don't get me wrong, but I think this team needed to get more defensive on defense.
Well, the other question here is Letang. He's coming off arguably the best year of his career, right? I mean,
he was a monster.
He was very good last year, and that was a big, like, prove the haters wrong type of year for Letang, because previous to last year, people were saying he's done, and and really the only reason he's back right now on the Penguins is because of last year, probably, because I feel like even the management for the Pens were probably like about ready to part ways, and then he wowed them last year, and they were like, all right, maybe he's not done.
Yeah,
but can he do it again? Like, do you think that he got his deal and now he's like, all right, now I'm done, or do you think he's gonna have another like 60+ point season? I mean, he had what, like I want to say he had like 58 assists or something like that. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, he had a really good year.
Maybe I'm just saying that because he's number 58, but
I don't worry about Chris Letang one bit. I know you know exactly what you're going to get, and I'm fine with what we get. I'm most worried about Brian Doomland. There's a lot of trade rumors out there that he was going to be the left defenseman that got dealt. They still kind of need to deal with
up. I think this is a contract year for him. Isn't he expire at the end of the year?
Yep. And he had a big injury. It was either right before the pandemic or in the bubble after, where he kind of like I think he had an ankle problem. He's never been the same since.
By the way, I was correct. Letang wears number 58 and had 58 assists last year.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's a beast.
So, Harry, real quick, the whole Malkin thing in the offseason, the whole should I stay or should I go drama show. How much does that affect him going into this year?
Let's
call a spade a spade. The dude's a head case.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And he's obviously out of Crosby, Letang, and him. I would say he's the furthest from what he was when he was at his peak.
Yes.
That being said, I'm pretty sure someone can fact check me on this. He was a point per game player last season.
I think he was close to at least.
I'm pretty sure he was like 1 point off, maybe.
Yeah.
The dude can still play, and to be honest with you, he's all we really need him for is power play. I mean, as long as he's not giving up goals on the even strength. All in all, I could go on and on about this team. You guys know I could talk about them for 2 hours. There's really one factor or two factors that are going to determine the fate of how far they can go, because I do think they're a playoff team. Kasperi Kapanen has to play better. Like he's the Daniel Sprong 2.0. Like that ceiling so high, skates like the wind, big right-handed shot. I have to see Kasperi Kapanen do well this season.
And
There's no
time's
ifs, ands, or
running
buts.
out too, because I feel like this has been the same narrative for the last 5 years.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it's also like I feel like on Daily Faceoff, we're seeing him just drop lower and lower in the lineup. Like they had him on like top line, like this is where he should be. Okay, he's not working out. Let's try him on line 2. No, now they've got him on line 3. Like we'll see where he actually ends up, but it does seem like they just don't know where to put him. Not sure like if he's really still got a chance to be as good as he probably should be. No, I mean, again, feels like deja vu, but it'll be very interesting to see if he can live up to the expectations this year.
Yes. And then that will lead me into point number 2. He might take the spot of Jason Zucker if Zucker can't stay healthy, because he has been a Band-Aid since the second he got the pit.
Yeah.
And when he was playing against the Rangers last year and he was in the lineup, he was a wrecking ball on the forecheck. Like we need a player like that so bad. So I hope he can stay healthy. I hope he can re-find his Minnesota 20 goal form. I think he's capable, but he's got to stay healthy. If those two things work out, this team can be very, very dangerous.
I think health is a big thing for a lot of these guys, right? Crosby, Malkin. It's been hard for both of those guys to play 82 games last couple of seasons. So, if they do, then definitely this team can be definitely this team can be dangerous, and definitely they can make the playoffs. If not, if we see some major injuries, I mean, the centers are kind of what worries me the most for you guys. I know I said goaltending worries me the most, but the centers are so old that it's like, I feel like they're so susceptible, and the injury history, right? Like Crosby, Malkin, Carter.
Yeah.
If one or two of those guys gets like an injury that keeps them out for even like 20, 25 games, that could be enough to like, the Metro is so competitive. That could be enough to like really, really put a damper in things, except for the fact that there's death, there's taxes, and there's like some stupid fucking Penguins player that I've never heard of that's going to score like 10 goals for you guys this year.
It's just an automatic playoff berth. I'm sorry. Like
Whoever
until they don't make it, they're going to make it.
Random guy you guys pull up to replace one of those old heads that gets injured, guy I've never heard of, scores like 5 goals in his first like 2 games or something like that. And
it's like the Patriots. It's like, oh, here's this 5'10", 180-pound wide receiver that's going to be a stud for us that no one's ever heard of.
His
before.
name is going to be like Jeff Dennison or something.
Yes, exactly.
Like and like, yeah.
I don't worry too much about Sid staying healthy. He's been good the past couple seasons. Malkin for sure coming off that big knee surgery. Playoff team. I don't doubt that. I think we'll be there. I don't know about the next team we're going to talk about. That'll be a little more of an interesting chat. So let's move on to the grand finale. Last but definitely not least, the Washington Capitals. Last season, they lost in round 1 to Florida in 6 games as a result of karma for Max stealing beers from the concession stands upstairs. No one is to blame but themselves. They handed the series to Florida multiple times. This is all what Mac wrote, by the way. I'm not dogging them. It truly looked like neither team wanted to win that series.
It's so true.
The key subtractions: Samsonov, Vanacek, Michael Kempney, and Justin Schultz. Key additions: elite NHL All-Star sniper Connor Brown, Dylan Strom, Eric Gustafsson, Stanley Cup winning goaltender Darcy Kemper, and Charlie Lindgren. Boys, I'll let you two take the floor first, unless you want me to. I don't care.
No, I'll go.
Okay,
right.
you go.
So listen up. Elite sniper Connor Brown. I know there was some sarcasm to that, but that guy is going to be one of the most important players on this team this year. You can you can take that to the bank. Also, if you haven't yet, go to WashingtonHockeyNow.com and read my article about Connor Brown, because I explain why he's going to be so important to this team. Moving on, I think that if you look at the 4 guys that we lost and you look at the 5 major guys that we gained, we got better. I don't think we're going to miss Sammy or Vanacek as much as we'll enjoy Kemper and Lindgren. And I also think Kempny and Schultz on D, Schultz played a lot of games. Kempny really didn't last year. But I don't think we're going to miss either of their services all that much. I like the Gustafsson signing. I also think more than anything that leaves a lot of room for some of the younger defensemen in the Capitals system to come up. Got guys like Lucas Johansson, Alexiev. Both of these guys are hot young D-men that I would like to see crack the lineup. Dylan Strom is probably the biggest question mark in terms of additions to this team that I'm not really sure what we're going to get. I don't know what's going to happen with Nick Backstrom. That's another huge question mark. For a while, people were saying we might never see him play another NHL game again. This surgery that he got is kind of a killer. Other guys that have gotten this surgery have not returned from it. However, his interviews from the offseason, he's been saying he feels like $1 million. He's been saying he can do things he couldn't do before. Literally he can tie his shoes himself. He can bend down and feels good. So, hopefully that translates to also being on the ice and playing hockey. Would love to see number 19 have some more big moments for the Caps. However, let's operate right now under the expectation that he's not going to be there, at least for the beginning, because he won't be. I do think that Dylan Strom will be 2C, the second center, and I would like to see that above Lars Eller. We tried Lars Eller at 2C last year. I don't think it worked. I think he belongs as the third center. This is also a contract year for him, and I fully expect this to be the last year that he wears a Washington Capitals jersey. Yeah, Nick, chime in. Let me hear some of what your thoughts are.
I echo everything you just said. I think, and what we're hearing between, both Tom Wilson and Nick Backstrom are not going to be here to start this year. We know that. We're hearing that Tom Wilson is further along than we had expected in injury recovering. We're also hearing that Nick Backstrom is probably not as far along as we wanted to hear in terms of return. But like you also said, we're hearing good things that he can, tie his shoes and, he's comfortable for the first time in 4 or 5 years, which is great to hear. Echo everything you said about Dylan Strom. This was a fantastic signing. I wanted the Caps to get this guy because it's $1.3 million contract, I think. Very low risk, high reward. This guy has shown glimpses of being a A+ goal scorer, puck moving center when he was in Chicago. And I think that if he finds a role here, can stick. I absolutely love what you said about switching the two of them as opposed to what Daily Faceoff has. I think Eller belongs on the third line. I think it just gels better. I know a lot of people were calling for McMichael to be the second line center. I think that would be an absolute train wreck at this time. I don't understand why anyone would think that's a good idea, but
also this is another classic example of Daily Faceoff tweaking. I don't know why, but they have Lucas Johansson as the fourth line, left wing. That guy's a defenseman. I mean, maybe he could
to
play
your point,
or something,
both
but
him and Alexiev, in my opinion, have kind of stalled out in terms of progress. They were very highly touted about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And neither of them has really gotten a sniff.
Well, it's also a classic Capitals thing of taking way too long to let this guy have a chance in the bigs. So yeah, I'm hoping that these injuries will at least give those guys a chance. I would also love to see a guy like Joe Snively find a way to crack the lineup. We're hearing things about Carl Hagelin. It's really unfortunate. I respect the fuck out of this guy. He's had an unbelievable NHL career. Last year we hear he's got a very serious eye injury and he may never return to full vision. Then we hear he's progressing very well after multiple eye surgeries. And then most recently I heard something that he sustained another injury that was completely separate from the eye. And he once again may never play hockey again. So I don't know exactly what the situation there is. All I know is we probably need another gritty forward to join Nick Dowd and Garnet Hathaway on that fourth line that was so beloved. last year. So, maybe that's a guy like Joe Snively or something like that.
I'd love to see Alexi Protas get a chance to stick in the lineup there on the
Would
fourth line.
love that. I loved what I saw from Protas last year. Yeah, I would.
I also
love to see
like
that.
just the Connor Brown signing was the best move of the offseason. I'm sorry to everyone who's like, oh, Darcy Kemper's a Stanley Cup winning goaltender. The game that Connor Brown plays is exactly what the Washington Capitals have been missing for the last 2.5, 3 seasons.
The goaltending worries me more than it should.
Yes.
Being that we have a Stanley Cup winner goalie. And I feel like that's why it worries me. Like when's the last time you saw a guy win a Stanley Cup with a team, go to a new team, and then win a Stanley Cup with the new team the next year? I'm not even sure that's ever happened.
I would love a fact check on that.
I feel like that's got to be like some 90s stat or
maybe
something.
Back in the day with like somebody crazy, like Patrick Waugh or something. I know it wasn't him, but like
Terry Sawchuk going from the Leafs to the Wings or something like that. Some
shit like that. Yeah.
So the last thing I'll say, the health of Anthony Mantha is essential to this team's success this year.
Yeah.
He scored the first preseason goal.
He did.
It's a good sign.
And it was a laser, like an absolute rocket. He crushed it.
You guys are going to win the Stanley Cup now, I think.
Have you not heard?
All right, Harry, let's hear it. Well, rip me a new one. What's wrong? What's wrong with this hockey team?
All right, before I go roster heavy on this is really what I think is going to happen. I can't remember what we said in the Atlantic preview, but when this releases, it'll be the day before the regular season starts. I think in the Atlantic, 4 teams will make it, and that 4th team will be either Detroit or Ottawa. And I think in the Metro, 4 teams will make it. And I think the first 3 teams will be New York, Carolina, and Pittsburgh. And that 4th spot is going to be between the Washington Capitals and the New York Islanders. And I said earlier in this episode, I think the Islanders might be the one team that keep you guys from getting in. History would say the Caps make the playoffs a lot. That's just what they do. And when you got Ovi, there's always a way, right? He was on fire last year for pretty much like 3/4 of the season. People were saying he was front runner MVP candidate. Maybe I'm overestimating the importance of Nick Backstrom, but I feel like this team's season almost hinders on his health because I don't love what I see down the middle, personally. I mean, Dylan Strom could take over. I have no idea. He could, but I feel so much more comfortable with Backstrom being in there, being fully healthy, and I think that helps a lot.
So here's my counter argument to that. I think last year with Backstrom playing, granted, obviously he was playing with kind of a bum hip, not having the surgery.
I think you guys said he sucked at one point. Like
he was bad.
He just like it wasn't him. Like it was a completely different person out there.
Literally. He didn't look good. But he still managed to like contribute and like have a decent enough season. However, Nick Dowd and Kuznetsov, your 1C and your 4C, no questions. There's no questions in my opinion about those guys. They will have good years. It's all about the middle two, Eller and Strom. I didn't really love what I saw from Eller last year. In fact, I think I said a few times on this podcast I wanted him to get traded. Mm-hmm. But I have faith that he's going to have a really good year because this is a contract year for him. He wants to keep playing hockey. I think he's going to have a really good year, and he's going to make it tough for the Caps to let go of him, but I think they still will, or they'll trade him at the deadline if it makes sense. Strom is such a coin flip. I have no idea what to expect. I feel like we've seen him look like an absolute stud. It's all about chemistry for him, right? Like when he's playing with guys that he meshes well with, he's a beaut. Otherwise, he's kind of invisible. So I don't know what we're going to get there. That's one of those definitely wait and see type situations. Without Wilson, this team, that's my bigger thing. Like Backstrom, he's getting older, whatever. I love the guy, but I think he's a little bit more replaceable at this current moment than Wilson is, because Wilson's younger. He's more in his prime, and his like attitude.
He was the best player for the Caps last year.
I think he might be the most important capital, and I'm not.
He absolutely
really
is.
Yeah.
No question.
He does everything. He can kill penalties. He can play on the power play. He can make
hurt the other team.
He can make that big hit that literally turns the game around.
Yeah.
Looking at the defense, I love the first pairing. Marty Party and John Carlson That's great.
Yes,
Orlov
sir.
and Jensen, that's great. The Gustafson signing is one that I was a fan of from the beginning. That guy
Same.
is a great skater, great puck mover. I
Yeah.
think he was just on 2 terrible teams.
I think he's Kempney 2.0. He's
Yes.
like a guy that we take
Like a
away
healthy-
from Chicago.
Healthy Michael Kempney.
Right. But like when we got Kempney, it was similar to what Gustafson is now. Like
Yes.
we're taking him from Chicago, same as we did with Kempney, and he's looks good, looks healthy.
Yeah.
Also, I thought TVR took some really big steps last year.
He looked
and
good. I was going to say.
Deserves a full spot this year for sure.
One final thing I want to note here, Dmitry Orlov and Nick Jensen are also both in a contract year. So it would benefit both of those guys to have really good seasons this year. Whether they want to stay with the Caps or go elsewhere, both those guys are going to be looking to play their best hockey this year because nothing is guaranteed down the road.
So I come to you both with my analysis of Rangers, Hurricanes top 2. You could argue maybe Penguins aren't 3. I wouldn't hate that. It's some combination of Islanders, Penguins, and Caps that I believe will take that 3rd and 4th spot. And one of the teams is getting left out.
And I think there's going to be a 4th mystery team kind of like nipping at the heels almost.
One of the teams is getting left out unless the Atlantic is worse than we think.
So do you think that the Washington Capitals can beat out the Penguins or Islanders for like a 4th spot? Let's play that scenario here.
They're certainly capable of doing it. Talent-wise, they are capable of beating both of those teams.
But will they? Not letting you get off the hook on this one. This is what the people want to hear. No, we all know we're capable of anything. Everyone's capable of anything. We want to hear what will happen.
Ride or die, baby. They're making it.
Ah, Jesus Christ. You wanted to say no and then you changed it.
Listen up.
Oh, I already know what you're going to say.
Like Michael Scott said, I'm ready to get hurt again.
Literally. Rangers, Canes, 1 and 2, interchangeable. I don't know who's going to win, who's going to fall in second, but they're going to be 1 and 2. Caps are 3rd, baby.
Oh,
Penguins, something catastrophic is going to happen to that hockey team this year,
sure.
injury-wise.
Okay. Yep.
And they might make 4. Because I really think that the Islanders also are going to just battle age and battle to score. I think they're going to have problems. I think everyone's like, oh, last year was a fluke. They're going to bounce back. I could see the Islanders missing the playoffs again. I think if you put a gun to my head right now, I'm going Canes number 1, Rangers number 2, Capitals number 3, Penguins number 4, the rest, whatever.
And Harry, here's a great counterpoint to or another point why I think that this could happen. If Kemper starts to like light it up, look out, because that goaltending is going to be a lot better than Pittsburgh's or New York's.
Yes, sir. New York Islanders, that is.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know about
Sorokin
that.
Guy,
Pittsburgh,
though.
yes.
Big Sorokin guy.
Sorokin's nasty. Jari, yeah, I'd give you that. I think he could, if he gets hot.
We've got y'all in goaltending. We've got y'all there.
Yeah.
Well, I would also say this. This is Kemper's first time in his career, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was Arizona and then Colorado. You went from having like the best roster ever assembled and the worst roster ever assembled. So like there was never.
But he played well in both situations. So put him on both. Put him on a mediocre team, and he'll probably be fine.
Hear me out. This is where my brain's going. When you're on the worst team, there's no expectations. Nobody cares. When you're on the other team, Cale Makar and Devon Taves have the puck the entire game.
True.
Now you have a team where I don't want to say Colorado didn't have to rely on him, but
enjoys turning the puck over at the blue line.
Now you're tested. Now you're really
without
tested.
Justin Schultz and Michael Kempney, I think this decor is going to be a little more competent in terms of like don't put the puck directly in your own net.
Yes.
I don't think the Capitals will suck. I am not trying to say that. I am just saying that between them, the Islanders, and the Penguins, I would say
something's got to give.
Out of the 3 of them, I think the Caps might finally give. Now, that being said, they could finish 5th, and my whole Ottawa-Detroit thing in the Atlantic doesn't fall. That's fine. They still make the playoffs. But I think they're like that 5th seed in this division. Maybe 4th. Maybe 3rd.
So, Harry, here's the $1 million question.
Sure.
You and I have been
let's do it.
Been sort of at it last couple of weeks saying, okay, wait till the episode. You specifically said that you have a bet that you would like to make, and I would like to hear those terms and conditions. Right, meow.
Okay. So what I would like to propose is this wall behind me is very vacant. And hopefully by May it won't be that vacant, but we'll see. My proposal to you would be that if the Penguins go farther, and this includes playoffs, it's not regular season. So, like, if the Penguins go farther in terms of rounds, like let's say they both get eliminated in the first round, I don't care about games. You have to go past the other team in rounds, right? If the Penguins win, I'll buy the frame, but I would like a Crosby jersey that I can frame right there. And that would be your gift to me if the Penguins go farther than the Caps. If the Caps win, I will buy you your Capitals jersey, which I've already done once, so I don't know why I'm doing this again. I will buy your
I'm looking
Capitals,
at it right now.
I will buy your Capital jersey of choice, and you will be able to frame so it's in the background after whatever month the season ends, and you can have that behind your head for recordings. And then the loser has to autograph it on the number. I think that'd be kind of funny.
Okay, I have two caveats. One, I don't know about the autograph because I don't know if I want to ruin your Penguins jersey with my
do like
stupid fucking...
do like an index card in like the
something
like a
like
plaque
that.
or something.
We can have a little message in there.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Hey, I suck. Sorry.
Yeah,
Bye.
no, but you ain't touching the jersey, and I'm not touching yours because we're not worthy. But second thing, I would almost rather it be just a regular season standings thing because we seem more like definitive on that. Playoffs kind of a crapshoot because that leaves it open to us both getting bounced in the first round. Very possible, very likely even. We both suck. Or it also leaves it open to like matchups and shit where it's like, I don't know, what if the Caps get like the fucking like Lightning or the Leafs or something? I don't know. I would rather have the bet just be like the Caps will finish higher in the standings this year.
How about this? I'll go impartial adjudicator for a moment. The two of you do a regular season bet. Whoever finishes higher in the standings, winner gets the framed jersey. But whoever loses has the option to double down for the playoffs. And if their team goes farther, like provided both teams make it, you have to hang the other person's jersey up behind you for a full year of the podcast.
That actually makes so much more sense.
Yes, but the winner has the option to opt out too.
Yes.
The winner has the option to be like if the Caps finish higher in the standings than the Penguins do, but they both make the playoffs, I have the option to be like, nope, I want my jersey right now, and
that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
So here's my only thought. This is my what if the Caps somehow finish higher than the Pens in the regular season, but the Pens go to like the Cup final? I'd feel like a moron. So here's what.
Stanley Cup trumps everything. Like if one team wins the Stanley Cup, bet flips.
But no. Here's my proposal. How about we do playoffs, and if we both lose in the same round, the tiebreaker would be regular season standings.
Deal.
Okay.
Oh,
virtual handshake. It's a virtual handshake. Not gonna lie, Nick, I like the twist you added to that because putting a Caps jersey behind me here would probably make me want to die.
I will be so fucking angry if I will be so
I don't know how that Penguins jersey got mustard all over it.
Yeah, right.
I will literally, if that's what I have to do, I will take it down and put it in the hall closet, except for during episodes. Like you won't catch me with you will not catch me with that just hanging on my wall when like people are over or like when I'm just sleeping in this room because
there
are children here.
That's a bad omen.
Well, that just made things a lot more fun and interesting, and I'm excited for it. All right. Well, that wraps up our Metro Division preview. Hopefully that was spicy enough for everybody here. I think Matt gave his top four. Nick, I think you gave your top four.
It's the same. Canes 1, Rangers 2, and then just a quandary of who's going to finish 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I think Rangers finished 1 personally, but that's just me. Okay.
You might be right.
Well, that will wrap up all of our division previews. The next time you will hear from us, we will be talking about games, which is crazy.
Real games,
and talking about upcoming games and bets and betting and
probably about how we're all already down $100 or
Right.
something
Or
like that.
broke.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everybody for the love and support. We are really excited to get our 4th season of the podcast underway. Can't wait.
Hit him with the 4.
If there's no other final notes, then I think that we're good. Anything else?
I'm all set.
All right. Well, without further ado,
Class dismissed.